What's going on, everyone? This is Chris around the ATL. It is the third day of May. We are in a new month. And for the Atlanta Hawks, the playoffs are over. Today is going to be the Game 6 review of the Atlanta Hawks versus Knicks series. And a lot to go over today. But before I get started, a couple things. Number one, I have something new I will be debuting whenever you're watching this. It's probably going to be the same day. It's going to be called Rant of the Day. At least that's what it's called right now. And basically what I'll be doing is, rather than trying to do like a video on a sports page randomly or whatnot, I'll just do it and then upload it to the YouTube channel so that way everybody can see it at the same time if you're subscribed, and then I can send it individually as needed, right? So be looking out for that. And because I have this rant of the day already, I'm not going to talk about what I wanted to talk about other than doing the game review. I'll let the rant take care of the rest of it. So that way, this will be timed pretty decently for today. Now, that being said, NBA playoffs, Game 6. The Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks. And because of the result of that game, we do have to say, now what, right? But just in case nobody watched the game, or maybe you watched it and you forgot already, that was the final score. Okay, I'm waiting for people to continue to legitimize that and make it good somehow. It's not that big a deal, Chris. It's always next year, Chris. Getting knocked out the first round of the playoffs ain't that big a deal. It's not that bad. The only problem with that statement, and again, I'm going to try not to get into my rant of the day, but because of what people said, this was not the result that we needed this year. What did people say? What have people been saying? If you get rid of that former player, everything's going to be all right, and everything's going to be better. But let me just pose this one question to you. If things were supposed to be so much better, okay, if things were supposed to be so much better, all right, and I almost forgot. Let me make sure I do this. By the way, as I segue a couple of things here, I am going to leave the intro of the show the same for a little bit longer because I was going to start actually trying to edit it a little bit. But I figured, here's what we had, here's what we have. Just as a reminder for everybody, as far as that transition period. If you watch the intro, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see here. There we go. Oh, it's not working. Okay, there it goes. All right, so if that's true, if everything's supposed to be better, right? I have a question for everybody. I want you to think about the answer. Don't just say something out loud. Don't type it in if you happen to want to comment on this particular question when you watch this particular episode. Right? Get into it. That's it. Okay. If it was supposed to be better, what is the reason that in 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 6 games, the Atlanta Hawks gave up 113 or more points in the playoffs. The last 3 games, we gave up 114, 126, and 140 points. That does not constitute as better to me. I don't know what universe that it does, but that does not tell me it's better. If the one thing you said was all that one person's fault, explain this. I just want someone to say something to that effect, because that doesn't make any sense to me. And don't say you didn't have enough, because the team won the division, clinched the 6th seed, had an all-star, the most improved in the NBA, and more than likely for the 2nd straight year, an all-defensive team member on the team. So don't say we didn't have enough. Won 46 games this season, which was 6 more than the year before. So don't. I just need someone to say how that is better. I challenge somebody to explain it. Explain it away. So let's get into the game. So again, just for those people who don't know, that was the final score. 51-point loss. And I'm gonna jump ahead real quick. Let me just jump ahead real quick. The halftime score of this game was 83-36. I almost lost my mind when I saw the score. I was like, that cannot be true. The internet must be messed up. I had to go to different sources to confirm it. How is that better? How is it better? Today we're talking about the NBA playoffs, Game 6, Atlanta Hawks versus the New York Knicks. As a reminder, make sure you subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube channel. By the way, also, another segue real quick. Atlanta Falcons draft review will be Monday, May 4th at approximately 9 o'clock if all goes well. We'll see what happens. If you like Atlanta sports. All right, so as I have done 5 previous games, I have reviewed what basically the basis of each game, okay? And I'm going to do it again, and this time I'm going to emphasize a few things because you really, 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 really need to understand how bad this was and how much of a horrible look this will be in Atlanta Hawks history for all time. I was telling my co-host of Around the ATL, Jordan Jackson, I said, the only way you can erase this is basically win 65 games next year and win the NBA championship by a 4-0 sweep to erase this. Because remember, it's not just this loss, it's how you lost all the games that you lost. Let's get into it. I almost don't want to, but I have to because I wanted to make sure this happened. And what I really am thinking about doing is I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but doing full game reviews like I used to do, and do it for this particular series because you really need to see things for yourself. Again, I believe there's people who don't know what happened in these games, and you're just making up stuff. And you need to see shot for shot how we gave up all these points. You need to see it. Because, see, you don't have that other reason out there as a scapegoat no more, even though he was never the one giving up all the points. I've been quite diligent in showing all of that, showing you game film that I can't edit and change. I can't change what happened in real life, right? And I've shown you game after game after game. Oh, I forgot to turn my sound on. Of what transpired actually on the court. You see what I'm saying? And so, again, let me go ahead and do this now. Again, that's why I'm tempted to try to do game reviews of all the games. Okay, how come that's not working? This ain't Let's see. Hopefully, okay, there we go. Here we go. All right, so the New York Knicks, game 6. You had OG went 11 for 14, couldn't be stopped. 78% from the floor he shot. Who's guarding OG? Can someone tell me who was guarding him? He was 4-6 from 3. 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, and a block. He had 29 points. His plus minus was 42 in this game. Josh Hart was 6 of 10. Who's guarding Josh Hart in the game? Anybody? He was 60% from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3, had 5 boards, 2 assists, 14 points. Cat. This is the most interesting. This right here. Now, some of this was based on how many minutes he actually played. He played 27 minutes in this game. Actually, their whole starting lineup basically played 27 minutes. It's just disgusting, just thinking about this now. Cat was 1 of 4 from the floor. That's right. He took 4 shots the whole game. Make sure this is still on all periods. It sure is. I just want to make sure because I was like, that can't be right. He shot 1 3, missed it. He went 10 for 10 on free throws, had 11 boards, had 10 assists, 3 steals, and a block for 12 points. He had another triple-double. Bridges, 10 for 12 from the floor, 83% from the floor. Who's guarding him? He was 2 of 2 from 3, had 5 boards, 3 assists, had 24 points in the game. And then Jalen Brunson took 12 shots. OG took the most shots in the game at 14 shots. They blew us out by 51 points. Can you just the thoughts of this is just mind-boggling as I go through this. I don't think I'm gonna have the energy to do a game review because I'll probably just throw my whole computer out the window. Jalen Brunson was 6 of 12 from the floor. He went 1 of 6 from 3. He took 6 threes. So did OG. Brunson had 8 assists, 2 steals, 17 points. McBride only took 3 shots. He had 3 points. Mitchell Robinson hit all of his shots, only had 3 rebounds, 6 points. Clarkson had 7 points. Jose had 3. Shamet had 5. Ariel had 3 points. Muhammad had 2 points. Tyler at 6 points, the one who was talking smack to Kuminga that night, he had 6 points. Jeremy had 4 points, and then Didier had 5 points. The New York Knickerbockers shot 58.8% from the floor. That's 60%. Shot 36% from 3. Not bad, not great. They actually missed some free throws, 79% from the free throw line. They had 46 rebounds. They had 16 steals in this game, 16, and 6 blocks. For the Atlanta Hawks, and again, we're talking about NBA playoffs game 6 review with the Hawks and Knicks. Final score, 140-89. This is the worst playoff loss in Hawks history, by the way. Do I need to remind everybody of that? Anybody? 51 points. Playoff game. In an elimination game at that. Just making sure I say all these things out loud so you can hear it. Dyson Daniels played 14 minutes. He was 1 of 4 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. He didn't have any rebounds. He didn't have any assists. He had 1 steal. He had 3 points. He was minus 36, plus minus. Jalen Johnson played 32 minutes in this game. He was 7 of 15 from the floor, so 46%. 2 of 5 from 3, that's 40%. Hit all his free throws. He had 8 rebounds. He had 6 assists. He had a block. He had 21 points. He was minus 43 and plus minus. But Chris, he had 21 and 8. Congo was 2 of 6 from the floor, missed both of his threes. He had 6 boards. He had 5 assists, had a steal, had a block. He had 4 points. This is another game, by the way, that the Atlanta Hawks had 2 stars who didn't score double figures. And it's been the same players. Again, we almost had 3 games in a row where the same players didn't get double figures in the game. Again, if it wasn't for Okongwu hitting a couple of shots, it would have been 3 games in a row, and it would have been the same 2 players. Okongwu had 4 points in the game, minus 38 on the plus and minus. NAW, 3 of 8 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3, had 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal, had 5 turnovers, minus 29 in the plus minus. He had 11 total points. CJ McCollum played 23 minutes, was 4 of 13 from the floor, that's 30%, 1 of 4 from 3, hit both of his free throws, had 3 rebounds, and that was it. He had 11 points. He was minus 24 from the floor. Gabe Vincent had 12 minutes on the floor, didn't hit a shot, 0 points, minus 27 on the plus minus. Muhammad Gay played 8 minutes. He did hit 1 shot, missed both of his threes, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 points in the game, minus 15 in the plus minus. Buddy Hield came in for 8 minutes and 54 seconds, hit both of his shots as usual, hit his only 3, had 5 points. He also had 2 rebounds. He had more points than Corey Kispert, who played double the minutes, 14 minutes and 58 seconds. Corey Kispert was 1 of 7 from the floor. That's 14%. 1 of 5 from 3. That's 20%. He scored 4 points. So Buddy Hield in half the time, but Corey Kispert just has to play, though. Zach played 16 minutes, was 4 of 9 from the floor, missed all of his threes, had 3 boards, had 8 points. He was only minus 2 in the plus minus, by the way. Keaton Wallace got a little bit of playing time, had 9 minutes. He was 2 of 5 from the floor, missed his 3, had 3 boards, 2 assists, and a steal, had 4 points. Bradley hit his 1. He hit a 3. Oh, he played 7 minutes, had 3 rebounds, an assist, had a block, 5 points. Asa, he got fouled. He didn't have anything. He played 7 minutes. He didn't get anything on the board, unfortunately. So the Atlanta Hawks shot 37.8% in this game, 25% from 3. We had 35 rebounds, only 22 assists. We have 5 steals compared to the Knicks 16. We were minus 51 on the plus minus as a team. Oh, well, that's because, we didn't have Jock Landale. That's why we lost the game. That's why we lost the whole series. That's why. What time is it? I guess I'll try to go. As tough as it's going to be since I'm really out of shape now. So let's get into the game charts now. I'm probably going to have a heart attack. The biggest lead for the New York Knicks was 61 points. Crazy thing is the Hawks had a 4-point lead in this game at one point. Ain't that something? So what was one of the things that I said in all of these game reviews, especially early on, that it was not sustainable for what? For the Hawks to keep giving up points in the paint, second chance points, fast break points, various threes. Even though, again, the 3-point percentage hasn't been great, for the Knicks, but they're hitting more than we are at a better percentage. And that counts overall, right? Getting out rebounded, no situational rebounding. Those things could not be sustainable against this team, and we keep doing it and expect to win, right? So in this particular game, the Hawks were out rebounded 46-35. This time nothing is even on this one, because some of these games we were kind of even in a lot of the different categories. Not this time, not this game. Assists 33-22, steals 16-5, blocks 6-4, turnovers. Hawks had 19 turnovers in this game. Again, The Knicks shot 58% from the floor to our 37. 3-point percentage, 36 to our 25. Free throws was pretty even, 79 to 78. But here's your killer. 66 points in the paint given up. 17 second chance points given up. 35 fast break points given up in an elimination playoff game. So, all that being said, now what? I had to wait for it to pull up there. So there's all this talk, right? On Twitter, I believe, say something to the effect, well, Jalen Johnson is the best drafted player in Hawks history. And I'm like, what are you basing that statement off of? That's a ludicrous sounding statement on all angles, just per the fact that all the games that he's missed. How can you elevate him as a drafted player on the team when, like, how are you doing that? And then if we just, again, what are you basing that off of? Because is it points? Is it assists? Is it rebounds? Is it block shots? Is it number of wins? Is it playoff wins? Is it series playoff wins? What are you basing that off of? He's led the league in something? He won a slam dunk contest? Like, where are you basing that statement off of? Right? But here's what is a fact. Okay. My computer is really going slow. Hopefully it doesn't crash on me. So 19 points, 19.5, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. That's what Jalen Johnson did in this playoffs. Now, he shot 29% from 3 and 43% from the floor. Someone said, well, DJ is more efficient than Trae Young. Well, don't you think that Jalen Johnson should at least be also more efficient than Trae Young? If you want to say and make these claims. And again, this is nothing about being against or against a player or anything like that. I'm just responding to what people are saying and coming back with, well, here's some facts. Because if you have an opinion, back it up with some facts. I'm just saying the facts here. If you're saying someone is better, I need you to prove that that's better, because this doesn't show me that it's better. Career playoff numbers, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, doesn't sound that great to me in the playoffs. Because that's what his actual average is, right? But as a big, shooting 43% from the floor, I'm sorry, that's kind of bad, isn't it? Yes or no? And Jalen is the best player on our team. He is, by default, the leader of the team. And so are these quote unquote leadership numbers that you see here. Let's do something real quick. I don't know if I can do it, but we're going to try to see if I can do it in real time. Because you need to hear some of this stuff, okay? I don't know. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, I found it. I got fortunate this time. So I want someone to just explain to me how what I'm about to say is bad. Okay? Just what I'm about to say. Okay? 32 and 10, 30 and 7, 21 and 14, 27 and 9, 36 and 9, 35 and 10, 21 and 11, 28 and 8, 25 and 18, 39 and 7, 34 and 12, 21 and 10, 48 and 11, 35 and 4, 14 and 9. That was you know who I'm talking about right now? That was a game he came back after being hurt. Still had 9 assists though, but hey. 25 and 7, 24 and 8, 16 and 8, 24 and 6, 32 and 9, 35 and 15, 38 and 13, 30 and 3. So those are the playoff games, not all of them. I just picked out a couple of the former player that don't play here no more. So people would say that's bad, and that's the reason we lost any playoff games out of that, because some of those games we actually did win. Some of those he won himself, aka the game-winning shot. People will just erase all of that out the way. But again, when you're talking about comparing in apples and oranges, Jalen Johnson needed to get the Hawks out the first round. Well, let me be base with this. We needed to win game 1 of the playoffs. We needed to knock the Knicks out. We need to go to round 2 and win game 1 of the second round and knock that team out, and then get to the Eastern Conference Finals and win game 1, and then get to the finals, because then at least you would have some basis to say, well, this player is actually a little bit better than this other player because he actually got the team to the finals. Then you would have a little bit of an argument, because that would be something that the other player didn't do. And then we got to go to the playoffs at least the next 2 seasons. You see how that works? We use the word better because that's what people have said. I wouldn't be able to say anything if people didn't say that, but people have said it, and they're still saying it now. And they're coming up with legitimizations of how this playoff series wasn't that big a deal. We weren't expected to win. How all of a sudden now you win the division, and everything, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, we're playing the Knicks. No, now if we play bad, we'll just shrug it off that, oh well, the Knicks were just so much better than us. And, this was our first time in the playoffs. And this is his first time leading the team in the play. No, I'm sorry, you can't say any of those things because, right, that former player, first playoff game was 32 and 10, shot 47% from the floor, did all his free throws, had 7 boards. His second playoff game, 30 and 7, shot 55% from the floor, 57% from 3, did all his free throws. He was 13 to 15 in his first playoff series from the free throw line. His third playoff game, 21 and 14. What are we talking about? His fourth playoff game, 27 and 9. His fifth playoff game ever in life, his third year in the league, 36 and 9. Game clincher. Oh, by the way, team was playing defense too, with that guy on the floor, which is what all people say. Oh, well, if he's not on the floor, the Hawks should be able to play better defense. How many points a game did we just give up in the playoffs? There's that too, right? His second playoff series ever, 35 and 10, 21 and 11, 28 and 8, 25 and 18, 25 and 18. 18. You know who's on the roster then, right? 39. Where is this at? Philly still. 39-7 right after that. 34-12 right after that. Played 40 minutes in that game. And then the game clincher again, 21-10. Shot terrible from three that game, though. Sure did. Yep. He actually had a bad shoot night all the way around. He shot 5 for 23 in that game. Yep. You know what happened? Little game 7 Kevin. That's what people love. Too bad we didn't have game 7 Kevin in that Milwaukee series, because after a former player went for 48 and 11, right? The next game, we did get blown out in that game. We didn't get blown out by 51 points, though. Let's see what the math is real quick. We didn't get blown out by 51 points, but the Bucks said, "No, you ain't going to beat us again on our home turf again. We're going to come back and win this game." Got beat by 34. That former player had 15 points in that game before he got pulled. He played 28 minutes. Nobody played well in that game, though. And that's one of his highest plus minuses there, minus 29. But everybody in that game had a minus in that game. He didn't have no minus 43, though. He ain't never had, I could show it to you right here. It's right here in front of me. His highest is a minus 29. He had minus 22 against Miami, the next series I'm about to talk about. No, minus 27, my bad. Minus 29, minus 27, minus 22. Everything else is minus 18 or lower in all of his playoff games. So there's that. You can prove stuff, guys. All you got to do is look it up. Of course, that Milwaukee series, he came back. He was hurt. 14-9. Everybody knew he wasn't himself. He was 4-17 in that game. Probably shouldn't have played, but he wanted to play. Kind of like John Collins the next season when he was hurt in the playoffs. He shouldn't have played, but he wanted to play, right? So that next season, after seeing a player go 29-9 in the playoffs, Coach Spoelstra said, "You know what? I know coming into this series that John Collins is hurt. Clint Capella is hurt. You got other people banged up. I'm going to dare that team to have somebody else besides that former player beat them and see what happens." Because, see, good coaches never let your best player on the other team beat you if there are no other options. You see what I'm saying? It's obvious there's no other options. So I double dog, triple dog dare y'all. Somebody raise up on us, right? So game 1 of that Miami series, probably one of his worst games. He was 1-12 in that game. Sure was. Over 7 from 3. He sure was. Had 8 points, 4 assists. Hawks lost 115-91. Now, I've already done it before, but you can go back and look at what everybody's. Actually, I'll go ahead and do it. I got time. What time is it? Okay, I got time. I'll do it right now. Here's what everybody did in game 1 of that Miami series, which was our second year in a row going to the playoffs, right? Here's what everybody did on our team that particular night. So Hunter had 14 points. Gallo had 17 points. That former player again had 8 points. Kevin Huerter had 8 points. Okongwu had 3 points. That was our starting lineup. Because, again, Clint was hurt, right? Bogey had 6 points. He was 0 of 8 from the floor and 0 of 4 from 3. John Collins, off the bench, I believe, 10 points. He was 4 of 6 from the floor in that particular game. DeLon Wright had 5 points. TLC had 5 points. Gorgie Jang had 3 points. Kevin Knox in garbage time Had 10 points. He was 3 of 5 from the floor. He had a couple of threes. Had 10 points in that game. Garbage time. Skylar Mays had 2 points. We had 91 points in that game. That's what we got. The final score is 115-91. That was game 1. How about game 2? Because again, people just have forgotten these things. They just throw it out there and just say stuff that's crazy. Game 2, that former player was 10 of 20 from the floor at 25 points. Had 10 turnovers though. They were still on him, but he had 25 and 7 in that game. Hunter had 16 points. He shot 40% from the floor in that game. Kevin Huerter, 9 points. John Collins had 13. Gallo had 2 points. He was 0 of 6 from the floor. 0 of 6. 0 of 4 from 3. DeLon Wright had 9 points. Bogey, however, did come back with a strong game. He was 12 of 18 from the floor, 50% from 3 at 29 points. Okongwu had 2 points in 18 minutes. TLC had a big fat 0. We lost that game 115-105. Lost by 10. So if that former player had 25 points, Bogey had 29, Hunter had 16, don't y'all think it would have been a little bit helpful if Kevin Huerter had more than 9, Gallo had more than 2, and Okongwu had more than 2 in 18 minutes? You don't think that got nothing to do with anything? Okay, fine. Let's go to game 3 real quick. Game 3. Again, that former player at 24 and 8. We won that game, by the way. This is the game we did win. And if my memory serves me right, there was a game winner in this one by that former player, I believe. Kevin Huerter was 5 of 13 from the floor, 1 of 8 from 3. You don't think that had anything to do with anything? This is a game we won by 1 point. Kevin Huerter, really? 13 points. Hunter, 17 points. Gallo, 11 points. Collins, 6 points. Bogey, 18 points. He was 7 of 17 from the floor, 41%. DeLon Wright hit all of his shots that night. He had 13 points. He helped us out. Okongwu hit all of his shots. He was 4 of 4. He had 9 points. Nobody else played in that game. We won that game by 1 point. Game 4, I believe. This is Miami versus the Hawks. 2022 playoffs, 2021 season. That former player, again, had a bad game. 3 of 11 from the floor, 3 of 10 from 3, at 9 points, 5 assists. Hunter had 24 points. Kevin Huerter was 1 of 7 from the floor and 1 of 5 from 3, had 4 points. Collins, 11 points. Clint, 2 points. He played 20 minutes in that game. DeLon Wright had 7. Bogey had 4. He was 1 of 6 from the floor, 0 of 3 from 3. You don't think that got nothing to do with anything at all? Gallo had 9 points. Kevin Knox in garbage time again hit some threes. He had 4 threes, had 12 points. Gorgie Jane had 0. Jalen Johnson had 0. TLC had 0. Skylar Mays had 0. What was the final score of this game? 110-86. And then finally, an elimination game that we lost by 3 points, by the way. Hunter had his best playoff game in his life, had 35 points, 11 rebounds. You never seen him get 11 rebounds in the regular season. Well, again, I've always said that he should be a player that should get you 19 a game, 7-8 rebounds, a block, 2 steals. And we never got nowhere close with that with Hunter until his final season as a Hawk, when coming off the bench and playing the 2s, he averaged 19 points a game. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. He had 35 points in this playoff game. That former player, again, they were all over him. They were doubling down to say, we're not going to let this player beat us because we don't think you got enough to beat us everywhere else. And they were right. They were exactly right. 2 of 12, 0 of 5 from 3, 11 points. Had 6 assists, though. Had 8 rebounds in that game, too. I forgot about that. Kevin Huerter basically had his best game, 12 points on 5 of 9 shooting, hit 2 threes. John Collins, 7 points. Clint, 2 points again. DeLon Wright, 7 points. Okongwu, 8 points. Gallo, 12 points. TLC played 3 seconds. And that was it. That's everybody who played. We lost that game by 3 points. So if Kevin Huerter had maybe given us a couple more buckets, Clint maybe give Okongwu, Gallo, somebody, we could have won game 5 and advanced. And then maybe John Collins may be a little bit healthier. Remember, Bogey didn't play that game either. If we just had Bogey, we win that game probably, right? But see, you don't look at none of that. You just say, oh, well, you know, because see, the very next season, guys, the very next season, people aren't hurt anymore all of a sudden, right? Will this let me advance to the next? That don't look right. Yeah, that's not right. All right, so let's do this. Do this way. I'll just type it in. Yeah, I'll just type it in. So again, the only reason I'm doing this is because I just think that people have just ignored, forgotten. You know, you've had the Vulcan mind meld, and you know you can't remember anything. You didn't ever see it. You weren't at the games. You didn't see it on TV. You know, there's video though. Like you could go to NBA.com and watch all of this, play for play. You really can. You just have to want to do it. All you gotta do is just click on stuff like I'm doing right now in real time. The Boston Celtics series. I have said, and I'm going to stick to it, that all we need to do is slow down Jason Tatum and or Jaylen Brown. And you don't do that with your worst defender on the team, because that's what y'all say that player is. He's the worst. So if he's the worst, why would you put him on the best offensive players on the other team? I keep asking that, and no one can give me an answer. And I just think that's weird. Game 1 against the Boston Celtics. We lost that game 112-99, right? In this game, DJ, now one thing, and I'm on record saying this, DJ did do his job on the scoring end. He averaged about 22 points a game. Hunter did okay. He was averaging about 17, right? The former player was averaging 29 and 10. So all we needed was somebody to slow down one of those two guys that was averaging 29 points apiece. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were averaging 29 points apiece in that series. Slow one of them down, we win. So just slow one of them down. Because I'm going to just give you an example. Tatum in game 1 had 25. He played 39 minutes. Jaylen Brown played 37 minutes, had 29. Derek White had 24. Al had 6. And Marcus Smart had 11. And off the bench, Robert Williams had 12. Brogdon wasn't doing nothing. On our side, DJ had 24. That former player had 16 and 8. Hunter had 11. Collins had 12. Capella had 12. Off the bench, Bogey had 9 on 3 of 10 shooting. Sadiq Bey had 6 on 2 of 6 shooting. Okongwu had 3 points. He didn't hit a shot. And Jalen Johnson was 3 of 10 for 6 points. That's what happened game 1. Okay. Game 2. Okay. We lost this game as well. DJ had 29. Hunter had 18. Also 12 rebounds. Again, he could do it. He did it that night, but he was 8 of 19 from the floor, though. Okay. That former player was 24 and 6. Okay. John had 5 points in that game. 2 of 11 from the floor. Clint had 4 points. So 2 of our starters scored 9 points total. Bogey off the bench, though, had 18. Congo had 8. Sadiq Bey, nothing. Jalen Johnson played 4 minutes. He didn't score either. We lost that game 119-106. So we're down 0-2 in this series. Okay. The next game. Okay. Next game, the Hawks won 130 to 122. So in this game, as Jason Tatum had 29, and this time Marcus Smart had 24. Jaylen Brown only had 15 in this game. He shot 7 for 15 in that game, by the way. Right? DJ had 25. That former player had 32 and 9. Hunter had 11 points. He was 4 of 11 from the floor. Clint had 10 points. John had 8. Off the bench, Saddiq Bey had 15, his best game. He hit all of his threes. It was 5 of 7 from the floor. Okongwu only took 2 shots. He hit both of them. He had 4 points. And Bogey had 15 points. Jalen Johnson had 10. He was 3 of 5, 2 of 3 from 3. That was his best game in the playoffs thus far. Okay, played 13 minutes. We won that game. Game 4. We lost this game. Jaylen Brown, 31 points. Jason Tatum, 31 points. Al Horford, 0 points. He played 34 minutes, didn't score. Right? So what did we do? That former player, I skipped something. Oh, there it is. That former player had 35 points and 15 assists. So we lost that game 129 to 121. Hunter had his best game again, his second best game, 27 points. He also had 7 boards. DJ had 23 points. Clint had 10. John had 5. Off the bench, Saddiq with 5. Bogey with 8. Okongwu with 6. And Jalen Johnson had 2 points. So we lost that game by 8 points. And you mean to tell me we couldn't slow down Jason Brown or Jason Tatum? Had 31 apiece. They don't got to be stopped. But if you slowed them down for 9 points combined, we win that game by 1. I'm just saying. But that former player wasn't playing Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. He just wasn't. We have DeAndre Hunter and DJ on our team. So what were their jobs? By the way, I hadn't even looked. In this game, here are the plus minuses, by the way. That former player, 0. He was even. Hunter, minus 11. DJ, minus 16. Do I need to go back real quick? I'm going to just do it just for the heck of it, because let's see who had the worst plus minuses real quick. I forgot to do it because I've done it in other episodes in the past on Around the ATL, but I forgot to do it while I was doing this. That game that I just said that we won, everybody actually in that game had a plus. DJ plus 8, that former player plus 1, Hunter plus 10, Clint plus 4, John plus 3. Plus, you won the game. That usually happens. Let's go to the previous game before that, which was a loss, right? Let's go back in time. That former player, minus 18. Bad game, right? DJ was 0. Hunter's plus 4. John plus 8. Clint minus 5. Bogey minus 10. Okongwu minus 17. Saddiq Bey minus 14. Jalen minus 13. Not good. Bad, right? And then game 1, minus 13 for DJ, minus 14 for the former player. Hunter is minus 9. John minus 6. Clint minus 8. Saddiq Bey minus 12. Let me skip back up to game 5 now. Hopefully my computer just didn't, what just happened? Game 5, there we go. So game 5, the Hawks won. Now remember, DJ had gotten suspended, right? So he was gone. He wasn't playing. He wasn't available. But we won this game 119 to 117. I believe this also was a game winning, or was that the game 3? I can't remember. But it was one of these where he had a game winner. I think it was this one. So in that game, 38 and 13. He played 44 minutes in that game. Hunter had 13. He was 5 of 11 from the floor. Bogey had 18. He was 6 of 9. John Collins had 22. That was his best game in a while. 9 of 18 from the floor, 500. Clint had 4. Okongwu had 9. Sadiq Bey had 12. Jalen had 3. He was 1 of 5 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3, had 3 points. Aaron Holiday got 3 minutes. He didn't score. So we won this game 119 to 117. And it took 38 and 13 to do it. But it got done, right? Game 6, and this is what really disturbs me, because we should have won game 6. We lost game 6 literally by 8 points. Jason Tatum had 30. Jaylen Brown had 32. All we had to do was slow one of those guys up, and we couldn't do it. In that game, the former player had 30 and 10. Hunter was 7 of 17 in that game himself. And actually, by the way, that former player was 9 of 28. Why? He was 9 for 28? Because he's trying to do everything he can do to win that game. Because that's what the best player on the team is supposed to do, right? Win or lose or draw, there's never a question who's the person who's trying to get things done, right? Which is the question mark right now that everybody sees, everybody saw it. 6 games. Where is that player that played the entire season one particular way, and then all of a sudden it's a conspiracy? The game is rigged? That's crazy, but people are saying that stuff. Anyway, 30 and 10. Hunter was 7 of 17. He had 20. DJ was 5 of 13 in that game. He had 14. John was 6 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 4 from 3. He had 16 points. Not bad. Capella had 10. Sadiq Bey off the bench, 7 points. Bogey off the bench had 12. Okongwu had 6. Jalen Johnson had 5 points. And that was it. That's all she wrote. That was all she wrote. By the way, minus 11 for the former player, minus 15 for Hunter, minus 13 for DJ, minus 8 for John, minus 13 for Clint. And that's it for the playoffs. So you go the next few years without going to the playoffs, and you know who's on the roster. You know who's on the roster. And for so many people, it just seems like you just want to ignore and just, you know, and again, I'll do another episode on that because I got to go now. Uh-oh, I almost cut something off there. But it's fanciful for people to continue to try to disregard things that are fact, right? And they're just unable to just say, how come that player just didn't do a little bit more? If that person had did their job a little bit better, things would be different. Or if that player had been available more, things would be different. You just don't want to say that for some reason. I don't understand that. For those who that's what you're doing, I don't understand that process in your mind. If all the losses in Hawks history are because of that former player and their supposed lack of defense, they're not the best defensive player, but they're not the worst defensive player on the team. I can show it to you. I've shown it to you. All you got to do is go back to some past episodes. You're watching this right now. Go back and watch some past episodes of rosters that I've done that show season after season. Wait, this person doesn't have the worst defensive rating every season. He just doesn't. That's just not true. He doesn't have the worst plus minus every season. That's just not true. He actually is pretty good on defensive rebounds. He's actually he's right there with the small forward on the team in regards to certain how. So why are people saying it, right? You can't just say stuff and think that it's just going to stick as if it's true, because that's not right. That's not how that's not how life works, basically. But if it was true that all the games that the Hawks have ever lost was because of that one person, how do you explain these 6 games where we gave up literally 114 or more points a game? Like, just look at your halftime scores in some of these games, how frightening that just is, just thinking about that. In the playoffs, guys, this is not the regular season. It's one thing giving up 44 points in a quarter to the Cavs in the third quarter. It's one thing giving up 17 points in the fourth quarter to Jalen Brunson in the regular season, and then do it again in the playoffs where he scored 39 points, and 17 of those were in the fourth quarter, right? It's one thing giving up 36 points to Peyton Pritchard in the regular season off the bench. It's one thing giving up 50 points to Malachi Flynn in a regular season game. That former player was not on the court that game either. I could prove it. He was hurt. He wasn't playing. Well, all the things that made the Hawks not good from December 29th all the way to March 1st of this regular season. People cannot say the statement, "Oh, well, we were better. We got better after he was." No, that's false. Because if that was true, after December 27th, we should have had a 20-game win streak right there. Boom. Because then you'd have an argument. Now you'd be saying something. But that's not what happened. We kept on giving up points in the paint, second chance points, fast break points, three-pointers galore, rebounded. It kept happening. We were in 9th or 10th place all the way up to March 1st. Guys, gals, everybody, three things that changed was we got rid of Vitt, we got rid of Luke, who, if they're not hitting shots, they're empty points. It's like empty calories. Y'all know the term empty calories? It's the same thing. If they're not hitting those shots to offset the horrible points that they give up every night, for the few minutes that they play, whatever minutes that they play, Snyder's going to put them in there and we're going to give up points. It's almost like it's purposeful, right? So those two players are not on the roster anymore to do that. So that changed things on the court. We replaced Zach with CJ, who can get his own shot. Zach can't. It is what it is. He don't have that former player to give him the best shots anymore. He went from 13 points to barely 9 points a game. Yeah, 4 30-point games a year ago. None this year, obviously, right? Not even close, right? Inconsequential on the team. Coach cuts his minutes in half. Don't want you playing anymore for us, right? So CJ gets in there, and now you have consistent scoring throughout the game instead of just maybe a quarter and a half, right? It changes things in regards to the flow of a game. And then the third thing that happened, we played one of the most favorable schedules that you could ever have. And I'll go ahead and pull that up just so people can be reminded, here's who we actually played. But some people don't think that this happened for some reason. I don't know why. Not sure. It's kind of strange to just dismiss it. But after December 27th, which was the last game in uniform of that other player, right? We got beat by OKC, right? We beat the Timberwolves, right? Right? Correct? Anybody remember this? We beat the Knicks. This was January 2nd. And then we lost to the Raptors twice in a row. We beat the Pelicans, right? We beat the Nuggets. We beat the Warriors. And then we lost to the Lakers, right? Now, after that, why is this? Let me get the ESPN on because this is too hard to read on this one. Let me see. Maybe I got to put in 2025. There it is. Yeah, because that one schedule is just odd looking, you know. All right, now I gotta wait for it to pull. There we go. All right, so December 27th. Here we go. Now, after losing 4 in a row, to the Lakers, Portland, Boston, the Bucks, we then won against Memphis, the Suns, Indiana, and then Boston. Still looks weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm right. Okay. So let me backtrack. So after December 27th, why didn't we go on a 20-game win streak? That's what I was trying to say. Why didn't we start winning immediately? Here are the games, okay? Here are the scores, by the way, too. We lost 140 to 129 to OKC, 140 points. We beat Minnesota 126 to 102. We beat the Knicks 111 to 99. Then we lost to Toronto twice in a row, 134 to 117 and 118 to 100. Then we beat New Orleans 117 to 100. We beat the Nuggets 110 to 87. We beat Golden State 124 to 111. Then we lost to the Lakers 141 to 116. We lost to Portland 117 to 101. We lost to Boston 132 to 106. We lost to the Bucks 112 to 110. That was a close game. Then we beat Memphis 124 to 122. Beat the Suns 110 to 103. We beat the Indiana Pacers 132 to 116. And then we beat Boston 117 to 106. Okay. Then we got beat by Houston 104 to 86. Got beat by Indiana 129 to 124. Then we won 2 in a row, 127 to 115 over Miami, and then we beat Utah 121 to 119. Then after that, we lost to Charlotte 126 to 119, Minnesota 138 to 116, and then the Charlotte again 110 to 107. We were 26 and 30 at that point. That was February 11th. That don't seem great to me. February 19th, we beat Philly 117 to 107. And remember, Joel and Paul George wasn't in that game. We got beat by Miami 128 to 97. And now here's your changeover. Okay? Because now around those 3 games, February 5th, 9th, somewhere in there, you had the trades happen. Vic, Luke, we get CJ up in there, right? I believe around that time we got Porzingis out of here as well, right? Somewhere in there. I can't remember all this. But here's what happened. After that throttling by Miami 128 to 97, and we're 27 and 31. We're not 500. We're not 10 games over 500. And that player hadn't played since December 27th. So this whole thing about, oh, well, we got better after he got traded. No, he hadn't even played since December 27th. That was prior to him being traded. And remember, before that, when he was hurt, we lost to the Wizards. We lost to, remember, guys, 1, 2, 3, let's see, there's Brooklyn. We lost to the Cavs 117 to 109. We lost to Toronto again, 109 to 97. Detroit 120 to 112. The Spurs 135 to 126. Although it was close, we still got beat, right? We lost to the Wizards 132 to 113. That really happened. That really occurred. That really, really, really did happen. And a lot of people forget about all that. But anyway, going back to these other games that I'm going to mention real quick. So, the streak. We played the Brooklyn Nets. We played the Washington Wizards back-to-back. We played Portland without Denny. We played the Bucks without Giannis. Played Philadelphia again without Joel. right? Played Dallas, they were over 40 losses. Played Brooklyn again, right? Played Milwaukee again, right? And then some good wins in Orlando, right? We beat Dallas again. Then we got beat by Houston. We beat Golden State and Memphis and Detroit in overtime. Then we got beat by Boston because we let Pritchard get those 36, right? Then we beat Sacramento. We did split with Boston. That was a good win. We beat Orlando again. We beat the Brooklyn Nets again. And then we lost back-to-back to the Knicks and the Cavs because we gave up 17 points in the fourth quarter to Jalen. And then we gave up 44 points in the third quarter to the Cavs. And then the Cavs didn't play nobody. We beat them. And then we didn't play nobody. And we got beat 143 to 117 by the Miami Heat. And that's the schedule. That's who we played. We played a lot of teams that were below 500, way below 500, missing their best players. And sometimes you have to have that fortunate sequence of events and take advantage of it, because we sure did take advantage of it. All those bad teams, we beat them all. We sure doggone did. But what made our team not great in those 2 months prior to that, did those things go away? They didn't. They were masked per who we were playing. Now, some things did get better. I said this. Our fast break points did improve over a period of time. Yes, it was based off of who we were playing to an extent, but still it was an improvement. But there was still too many games where we're giving up too many points in the paint still. There's too many games where we're giving up too many second chance points. There's too many games where the rebounding just ain't where it needs to be. And rebounding, guys, just to make it clear, is not all about your height and all this kind of stuff. It's just, are you with your man? Can you just block out? Can you stay attached? Sometimes it's just a matter of, and do a Torian Prince. Bring the ball down. That's a rebound. And we just don't do that. We're horrible at it. The other thing is defense. Yes, we got Dyson Daniels, but by now, in his fifth year, Jalen Johnson should be a better defender all the way around than he is, and he's not. And that should be disturbing to everybody, because he doesn't have the excuse of size. He doesn't have the excuse of being slow. Nothing. He has no excuses. Just like Hunter didn't have no. Well, people are going to be like, well, his knees, Chris, and his appendix and his elbows and his arms and his wrists and his legs and everything. Jalen Johnson don't have that. He was healthy this year, for all intents and purposes. Right? Okongwu regressed in his defense. Last year, he was a much better defender than he was this year. He was a much better rebounder a year ago than he was this year. And most of that's just because he shot a whole lot more threes this year. Detroit's beating Orlando right now at the minute, by the way, 51-45, just to let y'all know. But that's what happened, guys. It wasn't anymore. That's just not true. And you got people saying, well, if he was still here for this series, we still get beat. In fact, we get swept. No, I don't think that's true. I could be wrong, but we almost got swept anyway. We won 2 games at 1 point. 2 games by 1 point, and we missed free throws. I'm not going to go into that right now. Again, I might do a full game review of a game shot for shot, and if I do that, I'll do it in that. But you don't lose the way we lost game 1, and you saw how people played, and then you see how we won the next 2 games, and then you see how we lost the rest of the games consecutively, not having a shot in those games, and say, well, you got to clear who. Again, you got people you don't know. You got people saying you don't know who the best player on the team is. And that's crazy. That is crazy work. Is that what the kids say? That's crazy work. That you don't know. That we got pumped in Atlanta. That was at home. That was in State Farm Arena. The halftime score was the worst halftime score I've seen in basketball ever, as far as I'm concerned. So it was a playoff game. It'd been a little bit different was the regular season in October. You see what I'm saying? You can kind of get, because that's something that you can kind of erase away, but not in April going into May. Everybody was there. It was on TV. You know, I can imagine what Steve Holman was going through on 92.9 The Game. I can't imagine what he was saying, because I heard some of his sound bites in some of the other previous games. This is ridiculous. The Hawks aren't playing a lick. This is crazy. Jalen Brunson just walked down Broadway and just got a layup. Every time Tony Bradley's in there, they throw an alley-oop. And I think that was just game 4. I can't imagine what he was saying in game 6. I can't imagine what he was saying in game 6. The whole point of getting to the playoffs is having a chance to advance to the next round. The whole point of the regular season is to qualify for the playoffs. And for people to keep saying, oh, well, we didn't make the playoffs the last 3 years, roster. What was done to get the roster that could get to the playoffs? What was done? What was done? Who was available? Someone plays 36 games. 36 games is not 72, 74 games, is it? That's a chunk of games. 56 games is not 75 games. That's a chunk, isn't it? Isn't it? Or y'all don't care about that for some reason. Because, again, I'll do this real quick. I'm not even going to play the music. When you have 5 years, guys, and again, this is just facts. It don't got nothing to do about the player personally or nothing like that. Okay? 22 games, 70 games, 56 games, 36 games, 72 games. You see what I'm saying? Games started 0, 6, 52, 36, 72. That's a lot of differences there, right? As a rookie, he didn't get any starts as a starter. He played 20 games, played 5 minutes. His second year, he played 14 minutes a game. Played 70 games, but 14 minutes a game. He did start 6 games. His third year, he played 56 games. He started 52 of them. He was 16-8 that season. His fourth season, he played 36 games, started all 36 games. He was 18.9 and 10 rebounds a game. He would have been an all-star a year ago if he had played more. We didn't get to see that, though, guys. Did we? Why? It wasn't that other player's fault. If he had played more than 56 games in 2023, how would that season have been different? But also remember, Sadiq Bey missed 20-plus games that year. Hunter also missed 20-plus games that year. Okongwu also missed, as well as the former player who also missed 20-plus games. That was a bad year because everybody was hurt. That's something that you can understand, not people. We needed the player who was an all-star at 22.3 points a game, 7.9 assists, 10 rebounds a game, shooting 48% from the floor and 35% from 3. That's what we needed in this Knicks series, guys. That's what we needed. What we got instead was 43% from the floor, 29% from 3, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 19.5 points, barely that. That's what we got. Because remember, it's not just the number of points, it's when those points are scored. That's called momentum. And again, it's the lifting of the people on your back and saying, let's go. Let's get this done. And one of the things I've been saying is, at the very least, we need him at 10 assists a game. We need him at triple-double levels. And he was not even close. And why? Because of heart. So that's why I have to say these things, because people say certain things. There has to be at least a response to it. It's not about whether or not you're a fan of anybody or not. It's just, if you're so demonstrative of saying these certain things, you need to prove it, because I'm proving it right here. It's not a matter of what things seem, it's a matter of what they are. That's different. And our franchise has never put the best players that have played on the roster over the decades in the best position to succeed. How do we know this? We have 2 appearances in the Eastern Conference Finals, and only one of them we were competitive in. We had no shot against the Cavs because we had nobody who could elevate themselves over everybody else. That's it. That's the reason. Again, look at game 4. I've shown y'all that playoff series game for game, just like I did earlier. It ain't cool. Go look at game 4, guys. And then what did we do the very next year? Did we say, man, if we could just accentuate Al Horford and Paul Millsap and Jeff Teague just a little bit, and Popcorn, Kyle Korver and all this, we could just surround them with a little bit more. We can compete. We can get back to the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe win 2 games at least, right? No, we got swept out the playoffs the very next year again. Didn't even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? It means something to have the right pieces around you. It means something to have the right fits. Because if Damian Lillard had the right fits around him, he'd be in more than one Western Conference Final in his whole career in the NBA. If Allen Iverson had more pieces around him, he would have made more finals, averaging 26 a game on 42% shooting, because people like to talk about efficiency, right? Carmelo Anthony would have a championship, because nobody can tell me if Carmelo Anthony had got to the NBA Finals that he wouldn't win an NBA Finals. You can't tell me that. You can't convince me of that. But he had no chance of getting that done because of look at what was around him. Just think about all the great players that have played, no matter their height, no matter their size, strength, whatever. The great players are great players, but you got to have pieces around them. Tim Duncan doesn't win championships without Tony Parker and Manu. It don't happen. I'm sorry, it just don't. It don't. Just like with Jordan. Jordan doesn't have championships without not just Pippen, but Horace Grant and B.J. Armstrong and Will Perdue and Bill Cartwright and Cliff Levingston and Scott Williams. And I did a whole episode, remember, here on Around the ATL. Michael Jordan is trash. Or is he ? And I showed y'all his rosters from 1984 to 1990 and how they changed and how his coaching changed too. That made a difference. It matters. And again, we can prove it just using the Atlanta Hawks example. Dominique Wilkins played how many years in Atlanta, and did he ever get to an Eastern Conference Finals? Enough said. One of the most dominant players out there, he couldn't get to an Eastern Conference Finals. Couldn't do it. He wasn't allowed to. Look at the roster. I've shown that to you. ISO Joe and them should have been in the finals. Wasn't allowed to do it. Wasn't allowed. Al Horford, Paul, and them should have been in the finals. Weren't allowed to do it. Wasn't allowed to do it. 2018 and 2019 rosters, I won't go back through it, but you know what they are. In 2020, we got to the Eastern Conference Finals because all of a sudden in 2020, you had Bogey, you had Gallo, right? You had Clint, right? You had Lou Will to go along with that young core and mesh that all together. And boom, all of a sudden, somebody's shots went from 21 a game to 17. Why? Because he had better players to get the ball to all of a sudden, rather than the people that were there missing shots after shot after shot. That person who used to play here was no less than 6th in the league in potential assists a game for his entire career. led the league the last 2 seasons. This was going to be the year he was not going to be nowhere near that top of the list because he had better players around him. He was going to have a whole year of Jalen Johnson. You have Porzingis. He was going to have NAW and Okongwu coming off the bench. He was going to have Luke hitting threes. And then a second year of Zach, another year of Dyson doing what he does. His shots went down this year. All you got to do is look. You don't got to believe nothing I say. I urge you to just look for yourself. But he only got to play 15 games here because we said, nah, we don't need a point guard. That's what the general manager said. We don't need a point guard. We're good. Position is basketball. Woohoo, right? Did that pan out that well? Because the other team that we played in the playoffs, somehow they kept theirs. There's a good shot they'll make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals again, especially now that the Celtics are gone. Lord, didn't see that coming. Oh, one of the things I said wasn't sustainable, us shooting 43s a game. So you see what happened to the Celtics? Shot 49 of those bad boys. 49 in the playoffs? And you just saw White shoot 17 threes in a game. And the coaches let him do it. Again, you're the coach. You can say, hey, come here. You're not hitting none of these. I need you to step in. I need you to drive the basket and kick. I need one of y'all to do a high post or low post. I need somebody to cut to the basket. Like, what are we doing? We're not hitting the shot. Hauser just chucking it up. Pritchard just chucking it, not even set. I'm going to just throw it. I'm just catapult this up there now. Don't work. In the playoffs, doesn't work. Joel Embiid out there, doesn't work. That's crazy. You saw what Maxey was doing? Drive, drive, drive. Pull up, mid-range. Pull up, mid-range. Mid-range. We won't do it. We got people who can hit that shot. Zach didn't get a chance to go back out there and maybe hit a couple of shots. Would that hurt anything? Couldn't depend on Kuminga, unfortunately. It is what it is. Again, we needed to get out the first round. It's upsetting that we had no chance to get out the first round, apparently. We've been competitive all since, that certain point where I just broke it down, right? From that part in March all the way through to the end of the season. And we beat all the teams we were supposed to beat. You have momentum. You're hot. Nobody wants to play the Hawks. For them to do what they just did is bad on all levels. Because now what? Just like right, I have it right up there. Now what? Where do we go from here? Who are we going to keep? We're going to keep the coach? Or are we going to keep, CJ? You're going to keep Kuminga? You got people talking about trading Dyson now? It's all over the place because of how it looked. We had no shot. Like Vince McMahon, no chance. Now what? Where do we go from? Are we going to draft another 6'8" center? Are we really going to do it? Really going to do it? Going to roll the dice? I wish I had some dice. I need to get some dice. Oh, and I may have to make sure I do this. So I forgot to get the sounder, but the Hawks in those last 3 games, right? The way they were giving up those buckets, right? And at a certain point, the head coach has to be the head coach to say, you can't keep doing this because you know what that looks like. They were allowed to do it. My workmate will be happy that I said that. But it's true because you can control that. You can control, hey, guys, how come y'all not blocking out? Hey, guys, how come we're giving up 35 fast break points? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here? How come you don't know where your man is at all? All these second chance points. That's preventable. A lot of the things, there weren't even really, it was breakdowns, yes, but it's all this stuff was preventable. But again, those things were masked when we were playing those bad teams. Stuff didn't go away. See, that kind of stuff has to be coached out. Those things have to be fixed. And don't say there's no time in the regular season to fix it. It's a matter of consequences. There has to be a consequence for bad play. The shot thing is one thing, making shots or whatever, right? But the defense, that's continual. And our defense, again, per who we were playing, our points per game did go down. Granted, yes, right? All those things, they did adjust. But did they go away, though? Did the tendencies go away? No, they didn't, apparently, because we saw what just happened in the playoffs. Our best player to our second best player to our third best player. Again, all of those guys, this is not their first time in the playoffs. That's just not true. CJ's been in the playoffs before. Kongu has been in the playoffs before. NAW has been in the playoffs. He was just in the Western Conference Finals a year ago, wasn't he? With Minnesota, wasn't he? Kuminga has been in the playoffs. But at a certain point, it's still just basketball. You get over the nervousness and stuff after game one. After that, it's a continuance of the regular season. But if it was your first playoff game, you get out your system game one. You're nervous. Okay, we lost game one. We played. We were kind of close, but not really. We got it out of our system. You know, it's Madison Square Garden and all that kind of stuff. But they played the Madison Square Garden before. The mystique of the Garden and all that, and Spike Lee and all these other people, Fat Joe, whatever, right? After that, you got to play, right? But see, there was never a time where that other player, again, apples and oranges, people want to compare. There was never a time where that other player was like, oh, I starstruck and all this kind of stuff. Because that person did that in front of the whole crowd, in front of the whole world, didn't he? F. Trae Young. There should not have been a galaxy where CJ McCollum was our best player all of a sudden. They were saying F. CJ McCollum. We're supposed to be saying FJJ because he done dropped 45 on the Knicks' head. That's what was supposed to happen, and it did not come close to happening. And that's the now what? Because if he's not clear-cut the number one on our team, then how are we going to devise this now? And how are you going to get other people to come here? Because everybody saw this. And there are some people who they might have been thinking about coming to the ATL. This is worrisome, don't you think? Like, what would you think that you can add to that to help out if nobody really wants to play? Because again, you know when people have given up, you know you can see it. This is sports. You've played enough sports to know when you see that. And that was probably the most disheartening thing. I had no idea I was going to do an hour and a half today, but it needed to happen, I guess. There was no way in the world you could have seen that coming. Not to this extent. I mean, again, it's one thing being downtrodden and, you're just getting outplayed and all this kind of stuff. But again, were we really outplayed that much? We did win 2 games. Yeah, there were 1 point, and yeah, a lot of stuff had to happen for us to win. And yeah, CJ missed those 2 free, but stuff happened, you still won them. You would think that would have given you enough momentum to continue to win some games. But it didn't happen. And we got mollywopped. So now what? I don't know yet. It's still a little bit early. We need to see how the rest of the playoffs go and the championship, who lifts the trophy and all that. We need to see where we've fallen in the draft with, who we actually draft. Do we huff around? Do we use a draft pick and go get host Jordan Jackson reminded me, and because I completely forgot. It's not just that Halliburton is coming back to the Pacers. It's Halliburton plus Zubac is coming back to the Pacers. That's a pretty big move right there for them, right? Like when you're talking about we clinched the 6th seed this year and how things may flow going into next year, how seedings and everything kind of ended. Like we could be 6th again next year. We could easily be 10th just by default, like for real. Like think about that. It could go crazy next year, y'all. We don't know who we're keeping. We don't know who we're going to be able to bring in. We don't know about Zach right now. We don't know. They might get rid of him. They might say, yeah, he's done. And he might go somewhere where they actually care about development, and then he blow up like the world train. It could happen, right? We don't know if Kuminga's going to be here and he actually is a good player or not. Great player. I mean, he's a good player. He's maybe not great. I don't know. We needed him to score 19 points a game off the bench because that was our bench. That was it. We can't rely on nobody else, right? Again, don't know what we're going to do with CJ, if he's going to sign 2 years here or not, or anything like that. We know we got NAW. We know we got Dyson. What about Kongu? Kongu would have been great coming off the bench. He was one of the reasons why we were going to be a dark horse for the NBA championship, because we were going to have Porzingis and Dante, and we're going to have Okongwu as that number 2 and Dante as that number 3 big. Right? NAW is going to be coming off the bench because, Zach was going to be second year, 15, 17 points, that didn't work out because of the injuries. NAW starts, right? Had to start. And he blew up. We just don't know what's going to happen next year, guys. That's why this was so important. It was such a big deal to at least have a good showing, right? Yeah, you can say it's valid that it's Jalen Johnson's first playoffs as the lead guy. It's not his first playoffs. He has played in the playoffs before, hadn't gotten a lot of minutes. I just reviewed that with y'all, right? But basketball is basketball, and he is better than most. And we needed the better. Again, nobody out here can say that John Collins is better than Jalen Johnson, or Kevin Huerter is better than Dyson, or Hunter is better than NAW. Can't say that. Can't say that. So that other player took that roster and went to the ECF. Why was it such a low expectation that we couldn't get out the first round? Even though it was Jalen Brunson and Cat and OG and all of them and blah, 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 blah. But why couldn't we get out the first round? We were hot. We were the team. We were about to slide up in there and knock out the Knicks. Right? Split. We won game. We led the series by a game, guys. All we had to do is win the next game. We were up 3-1, and it just didn't happen. We didn't win another game. It wasn't supposed to be like that. Agreed? Or is that acceptable to everybody? You see what I'm saying? We needed the leadership part of being a superstar. We needed someone to be able to say, I got this. Y'all remember the movie Interstellar? I got this. Right? Y'all remember that part of the scene? Right? The other part is necessary. Sometimes you just got to do it. All the other stuff, all the noise, all the outside sources and everything doesn't matter. You have to be the best. Just like Cade at 45, just like Paolo at 45, and his team lost, right? Just like, Wemby is the guy over there. It's like, Halliburton is the guy in Indy. Just like all these other teams have that guy, right? Booker is the guy in Phoenix. You see what I'm saying? There should never be a question on who the best player on the team is. Who is the best player? Now, sometimes it could be a question of who's the best player and who's the leader. It could be that sometimes, because it could be 1A, 1B, sometimes. But push comes to shove, it's about winning. And we needed to get out the first round of the playoffs. Because we needed, and what have I been saying? I'm going to get off here now. What have I been saying for a while? We needed to win the championship this year, next year, or the year after that. Otherwise, we're literally 12 years into nothingness. 12 years of nothing. Because the organization chose that. Because 3 years from now, Jalen Johnson's going to be 29 years old. And are we going to get rid of Jalen Johnson? Or is Jalen Johnson going to ask for a trade? We need to win a championship. This year is gone, so we can't win it this year. So it's next year or bust. Because if it ain't next year, again, you see where the league is. You see where the Eastern Conference is. You saw what Toronto Pistons are up 61-51. You're in 10 minutes to go in the third quarter right now. You saw what the Raptors did just the other day. Remember, the Cavs got knocked out in the playoffs last year, right? I do want y'all to go and check out the rant of the day. It's because of a post on Twitter in regards to some past players and some mentions. It's very interesting how people think about stuff. But again, I had to address it. So be looking out for that. I'll try to post it before I leave to go. I think I'm gonna go play basketball. I don't know. If I go, I don't know if I'm gonna stay, but I'm gonna at least go out there and see what's up. Because I haven't played in almost 3 months straight now. And I just, things have been happening. But I'm gonna post that so y'all can hopefully y'all check that out. I just want y'all to answer, what do y'all think about the things that this person said about these former players in league history and where they stand. And I just want y'all's thoughts on that. So hopefully you respond to, of course, this particular episode, which ran a little bit long, I know, but there's just a lot of stuff that's said, and you should want to be right about the things that you say, correct about the things that you say. Again, there's bad journalism and there's good journalism, and you should never be bad journalism. Okay, because things can be looked up. It's just that simple for me. You can look up stuff and be like, you know what, that don't really sound right. Let me check that real quick. Let me see. Let's find out. Right? When you're demonstrative about something, you should want to prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. Right? So, that being said, that is game 6. The Atlanta Hawks are no longer in the playoffs. Unfortunately, we got to fool around and pretend that we're interested in the NBA now, at least until the draft. And then Summer League will be right around the corner, right? But I believe there might be some coaching changes. We'll see. But again, it's like, what are the 5 things that you need to win regularly in sports, any sport? You have to have an owner that wants to win a championship. How many times since 2018 have you heard Tony Ressler say, I'm bringing a championship to Atlanta for the Atlanta Hawks? I'm doing that. How many times? Like, go count, because you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised, and it's not cool, okay? You need a general manager that makes wise decisions over a long period of time. The teams that win continually have a great general manager who always makes sure that the deck is stacked, whether it be draft, free agency, or trades. They don't get that once in a lifetime and then, oh, I'm good, and that's it. And keep us stuck with John Concat because we got Dominique Wilkins. That's crazy, right? I mean, just saying. Number 3, you have to have a good to great coach. Good to great coach. Can't be average, can't be below average for sure, but they got to be good to great. When have we had good to great coaches in Atlanta Hawks history? Think about that answer. Get back to me. You have to have good to great players, and then you have to be healthy. How many times has health destroyed the Atlanta Hawks seasons in the past? Last year, 36 games, right? This year shouldn't have done it, but it kind of did. Because think about it. What if Porzingis plays 70 games? What if that other player doesn't get fell on by Muhammad Gay? Everything is different. Just again, with Jalen Johnson and NAW, the Hawks won 6 more games than the year before. Just 6 more games. Not 50 more games, not 20 more, 6 games difference with a full season of Jalen Johnson, basically. Because remember, last year we were 5th in the East with Jalen Johnson on the roster. 5th, right? So a lot of things can change A little bit here, a little bit there. Good to great players, you have to have a couple of those on your team. And then everybody else just has to do their job on a regular basis. They could be an average player, but average 8 points every game. That means something. 8 points one game and then 2-1, 3-2-1. After that, no good. But if you can average 8 points, 8 points, 10 points, 8 points, 8 points, 10 points, that's something. 5, 6 rebounds every game, or 10 rebounds every game. But what kind of rebounds? Offensive rebounds don't really do you no good unless you're putting them back in the basket, right? Because Moses Malone, he do the tippy tap thing, but he can put it back in the basket eventually. He's really good at that, right? You remember that? Remember, if you can't score, you need to stop somebody. If you can't stop anybody, you got to score. You got to score, right? We have not had enough people to win. That's it. That's all it comes down to it. Indiana was in the NBA Finals last year because they had enough to get to the NBA Finals, just not enough to win. They almost did, though, right? OKC has more than enough to compete. They got so much talent on that team that they could get rid of Jalen Williams, possibly, and still win a championship. That's crazy, right? They're deep. And now you're seeing these teams this year. Again, you got another 7-game series coming up with the Raptors and Cavs. Raptors might get to the second round. Pistons are still beating the Magic, by the way. Got the Timberwolves without Ant-Man about to go against the Spurs. Timberwolves beat the Spurs twice this year, right? You never know what can happen. I don't think the Lakers are going to beat the Thunder, though, of course. But you never know. I don't think so, though, right? That'd be really obnoxious if that was to happen. We'll never hear the end of it, right? Lakers beaten without Luka. They do got AR back, so, I mean, that could be enough to kind of even it out a little bit, but I just don't think so. Because they just don't have – Lakers just don't have no depth, right? That's what it comes down to. You know, they have to have masterful games from the best players that they do have on that team, Marcus Smart, LeBron, and AR, now that he's back, to even have a chance. And then they have basically people on the Thunder just have to miss a lot of shots, basically. And again, missing shots is not defense. You got to make them miss the shots. That's why I always talk about the Hawks. The Hawks be hoping that people miss shots. That's why they keep throwing those threes up. That the other team's going to miss their shots? I mean, come on, like, for real. And the Knicks and 76ers, that's going to be a real interesting one, depending on how Joel can keep up. You saw all the stuff that they had to do on the sidelines to keep him on the floor, right? Is that sustainable? Possibly. But PG-13 is out there. Maxey is out there. Edgecombe is out there. All those other various players are out there. They got enough to scrap with anybody. And they proved it by getting out the first round, right? Against the Celtics, right? In Boston, right? From the deficit that they were down, right? So they can give some people, and if they get past the Knicks, they got Joel Embiid, y'all. Again, all these years, who's been guarding Joel Embiid? Y'all thought that small player was supposed to guard Joel Embiid all those years that he was healthy? That don't make sense. Why would you do that? I've never seen it happen. He was never the primary defender on any big in the East. Somebody else was. But y'all don't care about basketball, right? And again, that's what I always ask. How many of you have actually played basketball? When you have down, you on purpose going to get that player that's on the bench over here, and you say, you go guard the 6'10" guy. And I'll go guard this guy over here. Even though I'm the tallest person out here, I am not going to do that. I'll let you do that. And we're going to win the game like that. That's the method that's going to make us win. That's stupid. How did Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory say? Stupid. On that note, you guys, I'm going to get on here because if I am going to try to play basketball, I'm not even motivated to go right now. I have a lot of stuff I gotta try to get done still. So that being said, again, this was the final score of Game 6 for the Atlanta Hawks versus New York Knicks. So now what? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Coaching, players, draft, free agency. We got, it's a lot that we're going to have to do, and I just don't know what we're going to do. Don't forget, look out for the rant of the day. I don't know when I'm going to post it, but it will be coming. I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you let at least one person, just one, know about the show if you liked it. Again, you can watch on the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube channel. It's my broadcast page. I can't believe I can't. There it is. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Y'all take care. Peace.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit.